Hi everyone, it's Colette. For those who don't know me as well, nationally board certified functional medicine health coach, certified functional medicine, and midlife hormone mastery coach. So I have a lot of specialties in different areas. So I help you develop healthier habits so that you have a fantastic life. Let's talk about a little bit about limiting foods. So often we think that we should limit foods. We think that we should cut out all these food groups, whether it's oxalates, which we hear a lot about, oxalates, which are, let's see, I looked at my list, kale, almonds, beets, chocolate. And what you don't realize is that's simply a Band-Aid. And there is a time and a season. I want you to get curious about the fact that there's a time and a season to maybe limit some foods. Maybe it's that you have to eliminate sugar. And sugar can be an ongoing problem because it is linked to chronic inflammation. And no judgment here, because I work with people and there's no judgment. It's not about perfection, it's about making progress. But if you've been on a limited food diet for a long time, I want you to question that. I thought that was normal. I thought it was normal to be restricting my foods all the time, when in fact I was constantly tipping the scale. And what was at the forefront of that was mold. Anybody that has this HLA-DR gene, it's 25% of the population in the US, 40% outside the US. When you have this gene, it basically means your body is not able to detox well. Detoxing is our body's natural way to get out of our system things that don't support us. You know, in the environment we have now endocrine disruptors. We have things that disrupt our endocrine system, our overall hormones, our guts, and our body has to have that ability to get rid of it. Otherwise, our cup gets overflowing, right? Which I've talked about before. There is a small percentage of the population that does not have that ability. And that means you just need to give your body more support. And I can work with you if you feel like you're in that percentage of the population where you just feel like you are constantly getting one thing after another. But there's another symptom, another problem, like your body doesn't digest well. You get stomach aches a lot. But we don't want to be constantly doing Band-Aids all the time. There are so many possible diets out there, and I'm not a huge proponent of diets. The choice is always yours when I work with you. I empower people to make their own choices, and we still get you to the goal. And sometimes some people are ready for big changes, and some people it's just moving in smaller directions. But I want you to realize that a diet you get rid of all the lectins or the FODMAPs or no nightshades or no oxalates. All the different diets out there, they may be there for a season, but to understand everybody's body is different. So we hear all the time that I've taken out all these foods. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. So I took out gluten. It bothered me, but I didn't realize that mold was around that. I was off of it for 20 years. Now, I rarely still use it because I find it to be inflammatory. I really still eat it. But every now and then I want to have something that's kind of fun for me. It wasn't until I met with a doctor, looked at my genetics and said, you're not even predisposed to having a gluten problem. And then we figured out it was coming from mold. I just accepted that was normal. There are some people that have a genetic predisposition to celiac. But again, understanding just because you have a genetic predisposition does not mean that you are going to end up with that problem. We all think with Alzheimer's, with other things. Remember, that is the gun. But to load it and fire it is your environment, is your diet and lifestyle. So we can work on all of those things, which takes care of sometimes 100% or 80% of it. And then we fill in the gaps with other things. So start somewhere, get on the road if you feel like you're constantly on a limited diet. That was me. The possibility is that you need to add in more foods instead of limiting the foods. And maybe it's a temporary shift to get you to the point of healing. I will tell you this, a number of people that I've worked with autoimmune, in the beginning, they had to remove things. Once their body started healing, things went into remission, that type of thing, their body started allowing, they were then able to start adding food back in. Hi, Beth. How are you? They were able to start adding food back in. So it's a matter of, am I in a season where maybe I need to limit? Am I starting to react to food? Well, let's figure out what's going on. What is the root cause of why you're reacting to food? I do that with clients all the time. We figure out what is the root cause and what do we need to do? Again, oftentimes you need to add more food in versus restricting food and adding in more of the supportive food, more of the food that's going to help you detox, like broccoli sprouts, which helps with sulforaphane, but also helps with cruciferous, does really good for detoxing. If you have trouble with broccoli sprouts is often a better choice. Plus it has a huge amount of micronutrients, a lot more than broccoli itself. So it's a better choice. And if you want a link on how to grow it yourself to save money, let me know. I grow it here. It is so easy, under 10 days. But to say that I am in a constant state where I'm constantly removing foods and I'm not getting to the bottom, you don't want to live your life like that. We want to look at, how can we, and this is, if you guys don't have this, let me know. This is the phytonutrient checklist. I love the kids version. I actually have used it for myself to remember, because so many times we don't know, we're not getting in enough reds and oranges, greens, blues, white, tan. Well, do you realize like your greens, there's a reason why we talk about they're so important, because they're anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, help with brain health, cellular protection, skin health, hormone balance, heart health, liver health. Remember, we're detoxing through the liver. So if you are having slow digestion and then you go on and then you start restricting, okay, and you're like, I'm going to do a juice cleanse. Well, that's going to help you, but there are also people that start not feeling good with juice cleanses because that's too harsh for their system. Their body doesn't need another detox. We all are just accustomed to thinking, I'll just keep detoxing. Your body should be able to naturally do that on its own. There is a season where maybe, once or twice a year, you want to do these kind of cleanses short term, but not something that's ongoing. Because what can happen is you can become nutrient deficient. And also, if your body is not digesting well, and that is all just sitting in the gut, then that can lend to other problems, other health problems, because it can cause SIBO, it can cause all other digestion problems too. So you're just compounding the problems. So to not make it overwhelming, to say, if I am limiting, let me get curious versus frustrated on what can I do differently? What can I do differently? How can I look at things differently so I can start adding back in? I call it Joan, the joy of adding new. So joy of adding something new back into your diet. So what would help me? And maybe looking at this phytonutrient checklist that would show you what would help me. And is it a matter of more water? Is it a matter of maybe you're eating too close to bedtime and your body is having trouble digesting that food because you want a couple hours before you go to bed? Maybe it's you're not moving enough and your body's not getting a chance to really move that food through your body to digest it better. Start paying attention to when this is happening, and you will start having clues. With my clients, I use a online food and mood journal that they can write in, and they can start making correlations to what they're eating and what the reaction is and how they're feeling. But the idea isn't to constantly limit our food choices, because of the fact that you can end up nutrient deficient, and then you start noticing low energy. You start noticing maybe headaches because you're dehydrated. You start noticing stomach aches because the foods you're limiting to just your body can't handle. So there's good things to all different eating plans. They work for different people. I've had talked to clients that have used some of the well-researched cardiometabolic ones that had a history of cardiac issues, that literally the pounds melted off of her. She was like, oh my gosh, I've lost 18 pounds. But she used the right eating plan that was right for her body. And it wasn't a restrictive diet. It was just eating in the right way for her system. And it's not something maybe she doesn't have to be on it long term. But she was concerned because there was a lot of people in her family there was a high risk of cardiac issues. I have a new client that's dealing with an autoimmune, actually 2 new clients dealing with autoimmune, and they are looking at a completely different eating plan. But again, that is to get them to the point of where they need to be. Now, some of these things are more permanent, but again, it's not restricting the way we're looking at it, like low oxalate diet and low FODMAP diet and lectin-free diet. And why is that at the forefront? What is causing the inflammation in your digestion or in other parts of the body to get you to get this restricted diet? And a lot of times we can fix that through food. We can fix that through coaching, doing multiple coaching sessions, because it helps us get to the other side of it. Tests do help, but it is not the only solution. There is a lot of things maybe in lifestyle and behavior. Normally when I'm coaching people, and we have multiple appointments, we're able to see what is happening, what is going on. Maybe it is even our thinking. It is our mindset that's causing stress, that's causing our body to be stressed. Remember, when you are eating, if you're stressed when you are eating, get curious about taking a couple deep breaths, because your body cannot digest your food well. So that could be creating another problem in itself. So get super curious. Do you want to be staying on these restrictive diets long term? If you've been on it for a couple of years, I was on restrictive for 20 years and I healed 150 food sensitivities because I had to get curious what was behind all these and why it just kept happening no matter how clean I was eating. And I hear that a lot. That's a lot of the people that come to me. No matter how clean I was eating, I was still not feeling good. And because there was another thing in my environment that was causing my system to be off. If that's you, reach out to me. Let's do a initial health recovery call. And let's get you on a program to start coaching to get you back to co-creating your wellness plan and seeing what else we need to do. Most of the time, if we do this where we're meeting regularly, we get you to the point where you won't probably need as many tests. You won't need to look at as many things because we'll do so much with diet and lifestyle first, and then that can save you a lot of money in the long run and get you back to where you want to be quicker. Whether it's sleeping better, whether it's having higher energy, I want you to get there and I want to help you get there. So thanks for joining me, Beth. It was good seeing you. Take care.